Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are we today on this relatively fine afternoon, at least where I am in the UK? Hope you're all doing well. I had a thought. I had a bit of a musing, and I just thought I'd ask you this question. How many of you believe that the Earth is flat? Random, possibly, I know, but how many people actually believe that the Earth is flat? You can, excuse me while I adjust my eyeball, you can let me know in the comments below. They will be below. Let me tell you where I'm coming from. I believe the work, I don't just believe it, I accept from the evidence, which appears to be the case, what's presented in what is the majority of scientific understanding, and that the Earth is a globe. I know for the vast majority of people this is where you will also sit, but I'm also aware that there is something called the Flat Earth Society, and apparently, so I've heard, they once put on Twitter that there are members of the Flat Earth Society all over the globe, believe it or not. And I think they were told to read that again, but slowly. Yeah, all over the globe. Well, yeah, sort of kick yourself in the foot there. But yeah, I certainly don't believe that the Earth is flat. You know, we can have all these conspiracies, but I tend to go with the majority scientific view with this kind of thing. And some of you might say, well, yeah, but why are you just listening to the scientists? They could just be telling you anything. Well, yeah, they could, but generally speaking, all of us have a level of trust in the scientific method. Otherwise, we wouldn't have access to things that we have access to. We wouldn't have phones to do these sort of recordings on. We wouldn't have cars. There'd be so much stuff that we wouldn't have access to, including the internet that you're using to watch this on, that if it wasn't for science, you know, we wouldn't be able to experience. So we all know that we can generally trust science. So not to say it's infallible, that it doesn't get things wrong, because yes, of course it. Well, I say wrong, but not necessarily, because I think things generally can change in science, but that's only the understanding of things, and it tends to use methods and whatever we have evidence for. That's generally what we go with. So therefore, we have lots of previous examples of where science has shown itself to be fairly reliable. But then you get people that say, well, hang on, no, surely the science also shows this. And we think, well, who do I understand then? Who do I accept? Well, it's not always easy, to be honest. I think I struggle myself, and lots of people struggle with, like, it seems to me that we're told so many different things all the time, and it's really difficult to differentiate between what is accurate and what isn't. All I could say really with that is look into what peer review is in science. Okay, what is peer review? It's not just a case of a bunch of mates all get together down the pub, group of scientist mates, and then they have a bit of a drink and decide, oh yeah, we'll go with that one today. It's not that sort of peer review. But peer review is generally, I mean, you know, I need to sort of probably get this a bit more succinct to sort of explain it a bit better, but it's generally it's a group. It's, say for example, a scientist will do studies, or a group of scientists will do some studies. They'll carry out experiments, and with the hypothesis they will check, they'll run lots of tests, make sure it's repeatable, and they get results, and they develop a set of data and a set of facts, and from there the evidence that is built up can often ended up mounting up to a scientific theory. Now, I know a lot of people get confused with what a scientific theory is. They think, oh, it's not a law, it's not quite being promoted to a law, that's why it's only a theory. go onto a website called notjustatheory.com, and it very succinctly explains what a theory is. A theory is above a law in science. A law simply describes a phenomenon, and a theory in science explains it. So it goes into more detail. But anyway, I was talking about the global Earth anyway. But what I'm trying to get across, really, probably not very succinctly, but you know, I'm not a scientist and I'm a fan, but I need to do more research as well, as could we all. Peer review is basically a group of scientists that have carried out this research, and then it's presented to other scientists, often from the same field, who know what they're talking about, to be able to run the same experiments. And it's something it's carried out time and time and time again, so that there's a very objective and clear view. If the same results happen, we can be confident that this is accurate in science, and it's not just a case of a single scientist is saying, oh, this is what it is. We can often get very confused and carried away with a particular scientist or a particular group of scientists is saying one thing, therefore it must be true, just because a scientist has said it. It's not about that, it's about the peer review, and they do submit peer review papers that show the results. So there's got to be some level of trust involved there. Some people will call it faith. If you want to, that's fine, but I wouldn't call it faith. I think there's a level of trust because you can actually base it on something, and we have prior examples of such trust showing itself to be reliable in the past, and then we can build upon that. So with that in mind, generally when it comes to scientific findings, I will always try not simply to follow the majority, because that's something called an argument from popularity, or an argument ad populum, a sort of philosophical term, and it's really a case of things aren't true just because the majority of people believe it. But within science, it's not the fact that it's a majority, it's the fact that the peer review leads the majority to accept what the peer review has established. And so if you get a small-ish group of scientists that try to say, oh yeah, but this, well, that's fine, but have they got their results peer reviews? Has it actually been sort of widely acknowledged, and it's gone through the legitimate process that is required for these kind of things? And if it hasn't, then maybe we can take it with a pinch of salt. If it hasn't, then I haven't really got a good reason to accept it. But in the case of a global Earth, I'm convinced that it is. You know, just because you might look at the horizon and say, oh, that looks flat, doesn't necessarily mean that it is, because there's all sorts of explanations that are given. Yes, could they be wrong? Yeah, of course they could. However, they seem to have gone through this peer review process, and as a result of that, the majority of scientists accept it. So it's good enough for me. I mean, there's only so much as a layperson I can do with that information. Otherwise, I'm not going to believe anything. I have to accept something, or I don't have to, but you know, I'm at least going to try and be logical about it and rational and follow that process. That's a bit of a rant, in all fairness, guys. I mean, I don't know why I sort of ranted about that, really, but it's not, well, again, is it really a rant? Not really, I guess. Just, yeah. What do you think? Do you believe the Earth is flat? If so, why? And if you're going to sort of say, oh, have a look at this or have a look at that, think about, has it actually been peer reviewed? I'm more than happy to have a look. I'm more than happy to be convinced otherwise, but I just think it would be very difficult considering the overwhelming evidence that there appears to be for a global Earth anyway. But there you go. Let me know. Even if you don't believe in a flat Earth, let me know what you do accept in that respect. And even if it's not about the Earth, anything that you want to discuss. I appreciate this is on drive days. Did I even say welcome to drive days? I apologise if I didn't. I'll go back and have a look at that very shortly, but thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please comment. You know, I'm interested in this kind of discussion. I'm always interested. I don't know as much as I should. I'm always trying to look into things. I'm certainly by no means an expert. All I'm doing is sharing what I've gained in my knowledge so far in my life. So yeah, please get in touch, let me know, and see you later. Bye bye.